Good morning. Welcome to the first ever virtual Fullerton State of the City. We're broadcasting live from City Council chambers, and I'm here with Mayor Bruce Whitaker. I'm Teresa Harvey, President and CEO of North Orange County Chamber. For more than 125 years, the Chamber has been working in Fullerton as an active connector and resources for business, large and small. Today, we continue to be a valuable resource working to inform and advocate for our members and the community. As the country recovers from the impacts of the pandemic, we look forward to our continued role as conveners of leaders, connector of businesses, and providing the resources everyone needs to build a strong workforce that will serve the business community. I know many of you will have questions throughout the program, so please add those to the Q&A so they can be addressed at the end of the program. Today's program would not have been possible without the generous support of our sponsors. Special thank you to Farmers and Merchants Bank and Ting Internet, our presenting sponsors. Our supporting sponsors today are California State University Fullerton, St. Jude Medical Center, Chevron, Park Vista, Roundtree Gardens, Crittenton Services for Family and Children, and Morningside of Fullerton. Special thanks to Farmers and Merchants Bank for your continued long support of the Chamber and the business community. Scott Dowd, Senior Vice President and Regional Manager, together with Helen Elagio, Branch Manager, continue to work with the Fullerton businesses through these difficult times. They have facilitated access to capital and provided tools required to help businesses succeed. Thank you again for your support. And here's a message from our first presenting sponsor today, Farmers and Merchants Bank.
Values. I think that that's really what describes who we are as an institution, and I strive for that every single day.
Because we've had consistent leadership within Farmers and Merchants Bank, that provides a different tone from the top.
For over 100 years, Farmers and Merchants Bank has been California's strongest. The values of Farmers and Merchants Bank, as created by C.J. Walker: honesty, integrity, the home, the church, and service above self.
Thank you again, Farmers and Merchants Bank, for your support. Throughout this pandemic, one thing has become clear, and that is the need for partnerships. It's crucial for organizations such as the Chamber of Commerce to work with other local organizations, residents, and the business community to get us through challenging times. A special thanks today to the City of Fullerton and their dedicated staff for collaborating with the Chamber to bring you this State of the City update. This past year, residents of Fullerton elected 2 new members to City Council: Nick Dunlap, serving District 2, and Fred Jung, representing District 1. These new voices add to the continued leadership of Jesus Silva, District 3, Ahmad Zara in District 5, and of course, Mayor Bruce Whitaker, now serving District 4. Mayor Bruce Whitaker was first elected to a 2-year term to the City Council in November 2010 and is now serving his 3rd term as mayor, the title he previously held in 2017 and 2013. He and his wife, Linda, a lifelong Fullerton resident, have been volunteers and supporters of Habitat for Humanity, Fullerton Cares, Women's Transitional Living Center, Crime Survivors Resource Network, One Legacy, Donate Life, among others. As we learn more from Mayor Whitaker today, I again invite you to put your questions in the Q&A so they can be addressed at the program. It's now my pleasure to have Mayor Whitaker introduce his theme for today, Give Peas a Chance.
My name is Bruce Whitaker. I'm the mayor of Fullerton, and I serve District 4. You know, in preparing for this presentation today, I've been asked by many this theme, give peas a chance. Where does that come from? In this case, I thought it a good way of memorizing, or at least focusing attention on the priorities that this city council faces and that this city faces in the upcoming year. The letter P kept coming up on all these topics. The one overriding was pandemic. The pandemic, which has besieged all of us for now a year and a half and maybe sometime into the future, has overridden so much of what the last council and what this council have done and need to do. Potholes, pavement, and pipes. We have infrastructure deficiencies in the city. The foremost is really pavement. Our streets are in terrible condition. Pensions, the costs of now maintaining and supporting fully funding pensions and the obligations that this city faces. Poverty and using the right planning for prevention of homelessness. It's been a very large issue, and there have been many actions taken in regard to that. The important thing is that we've been able to maintain public safety during this time, this unusual time of the lockdown. What we need to do this year is focus our attention on achieving steady progress on all of these fronts. And I know often that alliteration can be overdone, but as an aid to saying, here's how we need to focus our attention, sometimes those little catchphrases can be helpful. And so I really appreciate an opportunity to explain each of these topics today. Thank you, and good morning, Fullerton. To all those tuning in this fine spring April morning, and I want to welcome you to the 2021 Fullerton State of the City Address, and thank you very much for your interest. This is an opportunity for the city government and the city council to convey what the priorities are for the year ahead. As was mentioned in the video, pandemic has been an overriding factor for this most unusual year, and it's led to the first virtual State of the City in Fullerton's history. So we do have a number of items to cover today. I do appreciate your interest and attention. And one other P, we talked about give peas a chance. To explain a little bit further, that's a take on the famous anti-war song in the late 60s, Give Peace a Chance, by the Plastic Ono Band. In this case, give peace a chance, I'd like to stress the positive. There are many positives that are happening now as we are emerging from lockdown and emerging from the negative effects of this pandemic. We have much to look forward to. As usual, many of you business people who are tuning in this morning, change is the only constant, and we've had a lot of change at the City of Fullerton in the past year. I will update as time permits at key points to inform you on some of those changes and many of the individuals who will be carrying the ball this year for the City of Fullerton. We look forward, and the new City Council looks forward, to working very closely with all members of our community, part of which has been demonstrated by the fact that we as a city have maintained open City Council broadcasts throughout the pandemic. And as soon as possible, we've allowed citizens to attend, at least in limited numbers, this council chambers in order to try to remain as transparent as possible. So as we take a short look at the year completed, I'd really like to focus forward and talk about what's to come, at least the plans that we have in detail at this point. It is a work in progress, as I'm sure you all understand. It's been the same for all of us, be either citizens or business operators or even visitors to our city. I appreciate everyone's effort to adapt. And with that, we do have a video on COVID-19 response, vaccinations. Please.
I'm Brian Helleland. I'm the Chief Executive at Providence St. Jude Medical Center here in Fullerton. I think the best way to summarize the overview of COVID response in Fullerton was maybe two words: planning and partnership. Planning. I think there was weeks and hours of planning that people may not have realized. And then the partnerships really came to life. For the city management office was phenomenal, and working with the Fullerton Fire, Fullerton Police, those partnerships and collaborations, and then just a ton of other organizations, the civic leaders, the business leaders, really coming forward in support and helping in any way possible.
Our community was very, very grateful that we were keeping them apprised of as to what was going on in the city. A lot of people showed a lot of support for our police department, which was great for our community to see, but the support is also very great for our personnel to see that community members in our city of Fullerton are appreciative of the work that we're doing as a police department.
I think the residents have benefited the most from the proactive planning and hopefully the calmness. People were very interested, intrigued in just kind of what the planning was. Volume was always a big question, and different conversations where we could invest enough time in talking about the stages of planning, and then resources, not just our labor and with our caregivers, pulling everybody in as we shut down services on the outpatient area, and having all of those clinicians come and take care of all of our patients at the bedside, having our physicians rally and work just as crazy hours as all of our staff. That part of the teamwork and the collaboration was phenomenal.
Working with the city, we have developed that trust within the community. We have helped sign up residents for the vaccine. In addition to the Center for Healthy Neighborhoods, I know that OC United, I believe Solidarity, some of the other nonprofits in the community helped to sign up residents so that they could come out and get the vaccine.
At OC United, we empower individuals, families, and communities. We have 4 initiatives. We have the foster care, we have domestic abuse, we have a Jobs for Life, and we have neighbors. I am part of neighbors. We have been in partnership with the city for more than a year. That's our job, to empower.
The partnership between Cal State Fullerton Center for Healthy Neighborhoods and the city is one of the most, I would say, proactive approach to helping the city. This partnership where we bring out first-generation students, especially to go to college, serve as a role model. And I just want to thank the city for that proactive approach and for caring and being committed to helping communities that are less fortunate.
The Fullerton Police Department maintained our engagement with the community. It was difficult during the pandemic because social distancing and not gathering. So what we were able to do was increase our social media presence on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and we created series where we use video series to highlight different police officers and what their roles are so the community can get to know them, and also videos where our personnel would speak to different community members on video, and we would post those, and just to kind of maintain that engagement with our community so they know what we're up to and that we can also get feedback from them as well.
The city brought the vaccine out to the community, and they really care about the community. I'm really impressed by that.
Our Latino community has been in a lot of distress, being undocumented. But when they come to the community center, they feel respect and they just love it. It was a smile everywhere. And some people, they were afraid, but seeing the well-organized in how they treat our residents.
We've been very proud of our vaccine, program. We've given out significantly more vaccines than a lot of other healthcare providers, and we've done that intentionally. Getting people as vaccinated as soon as possible at the appropriate tiers, and as soon as those tiers opened up, we had new strategies to make sure that we could support our communities in each new tier. On behalf of St. Jude Medical Center, I'd love to extend my thanks and gratitude to all the members of the city Fullerton Fire, Fullerton Police, our residents, giving so much love and support, food, care packages to all of our caregivers. In addition, especially all of the businesses. So many businesses provided masses of food to our staff. So thank you very much, City of Fullerton.
I would like to echo some of the comments by Mr. Helleland. It's at times like these when challenges arise, unexpected challenges, where character really matters. And I'm very proud of the way that Fullerton has handled the COVID-19 emergency. There's been caring, cooperation, and support freely offered and provided. The many tragic losses, isolation, the equally tragic separation of family members has been something that we haven't experienced in this country for a very long time. In fact, over a century ago, the Spanish flu, the last true pandemic, which affected globally, as this one has done as well. I'd like to also provide thanks for the work and cooperation that's been provided by nonprofits, by our state government and federal government in terms of cooperation and support, providing necessary supplies, removing obstacles. This was compounded in large part in the city of Fullerton by the fiscal challenges that we had as well. We had some employees working from home, thereby reducing our workforce regularly. And when urgent need presented itself, we've had employees do the extra mile, the extra work, the extra hours necessary, and projected a true caring and considerate attitude in the process. I want to thank the citizens, the residents of Fullerton, and the business operators and visitors to our city as well for bearing with some of the rockiness that we've had in terms of making sure that we attain the mission of providing support and it being something that our residents can rely on, that when they need it, that city government will be here, particularly public safety. We do have some information on the public safety response to be provided as well. I'd like now to transition to the COVID-19 response, which is business and rental assistance, and this is by Councilmember Jesus Silva.
My name is Jesus Silva, and I'm a council member here in the city of Fullerton, and I represent District 3. From the get-go, I've seen the stress that this pandemic has caused on families. And I've seen them when anytime they get some assistance, the way they react, the positive, the stress is off. So when we started doing the rental assistance, I started seeing some parents, in general, the look on their faces was, okay, there's one less stress that I have to worry about. And they were very grateful. A perfect example of a rental assistance was with Mariah, a resident here in Fullerton. When we were able to get her some rent payment, she just was very grateful. And you can tell that, okay, I can move forward now. It may not be at the same pace, but it's one less thing, and I'll be able to provide for my kids a little while longer. It makes you realize you're doing a service to the community. The Walk-On Wheelchair is an outdoor dining area. Restaurants were able to serve outdoors, so we said, well, how can we help them? And we literally took about a third of the street, Wilshire, closed it out and made it an alfresco dining area.
My name is Brandon Bevins, second generation owner of Mulberry Street Restaurant in downtown Fullerton. The city of Fullerton has been incredibly supportive of small businesses during COVID-19. Our restaurant is indoors. We don't have access to a patio or any kind of outdoor dining setup. And if the city didn't come through for us in this way, I think ourselves and probably many of the businesses in this area would not survive. As a downtown business owner, the support of the city has been immense during this time.
One of the things that I've seen during this pandemic, and I have seen it before, is the resiliency and commitment from our staff and residents. This has really shone the light on our staff, our city, our residents, that we have been able to persevere and get through this. I want to commend our staff, our residents, everyone here in the city for doing a great job in getting us through this.
I just want to say thank you to the city of Fullerton for all they've done for us during the pandemic. Thank you to all Fullerton residents for supporting us and keeping us going, and we genuinely wouldn't be in business without it.
Thank you for taking the advice when you needed to and being safe. Thank you for keeping your family safe. Thank you for working with the city so that we could make sure we were able to provide the services that you asked for, that you needed, and hopefully in a few more months we will come out of this a little bit stronger, a little bit wiser, and we will be able to get back to pre-pandemic normal and make our city, again, the wonderful place it has always been to live. Thank you.
As the council member said, stronger, wiser, and may I add, better. It's important to realize that when the chips are down, that the true champions arise. And there were many thank yous provided there, and those thank yous are very necessary. What I'd like to talk about right now in relation to that are many of the people who have worked and are working right now to help maintain the city of Fullerton at present. I want to give a big thank you to our former city manager, Ken Domer. A very recent change was made by the council, and Mr. Domer helped carry city government through these very difficult times, put in endless hours on different issues involving COVID-19, of course, homelessness, and all the other issues. And I do want to provide thanks for his informed, capable assistance in seeing us through this pandemic. And at that point, I also want to talk about the new acting city manager, Steve Danley. Want to appreciate him. He's in his second day today. I'm hoping that people get an opportunity to get to know Mr. Danley well. His resume and other information is out there on media. I would welcome any questions that people might have. So Steve Danley, acting city manager today. Krista Johnson, interim deputy city manager. Ellis Chang, director of administrative services. Matt Folks, director of community and economic development. Kelly Fritzl, deputy director of community and economic development. Adam Loser, fire chief. Eddie Manfro, the interim director of human resources. Judy Booth, our library director. Alice Loya, acting deputy director of parks and recreation. Robert Dunn, Bob Dunn, our chief of police. Meg McWade, director of public works, and Anissa Levis, administrative analyst 2, and also public information coordinator. And with that, I would like to introduce a message from Cal State Fullerton.
On behalf of the 41,000 students at Cal State Fullerton, we are thrilled to be a part of the North Orange County Chamber of Commerce annual event. Hello, my name is Greg Sachs, and I work at Cal State Fullerton as the Vice President for University Advancement. The pandemic certainly impacted Cal State Fullerton. We were able to pivot, though, from being almost 100% in person to 100% virtual. And thousands of MiFis and laptops and other technology equipment was able to be distributed to our students and faculty. And fortunately, through the hard work of so many, we were able to continue to excel. This year, the university had its highest enrollment on record, and we're pretty well positioned for that next step, which hopefully will be re-entry very, very soon. We again found ourselves with record-breaking graduation rates. Over a 32% increase in six-year graduation rates at Cal State Fullerton. We're again number 1 in the state for graduating women. We're also number 2 in the nation for graduating underrepresented students as well as Latinx students. This beautiful campus, it's pretty empty right now. I can't wait till fall when right now, for example, we have about 75% of our classes planned to come back to campus, another 10% that will be in hybrid. So I can't wait for the next time we get to do this, that we're having to avoid students as we're managing this kind of taping. The second thing I can't wait for is graduation, which will be coming up this June. We have the pleasure of being able to graduate not only the class of 2021, but also the class of 2020. So at the end of the day, almost 25,000 graduates will be able to celebrate in person as they walk across the stage. One of the great points of pride at Cal State Fullerton is that we are Cal State Fullerton. While we serve all of Orange County and the surrounding area, our association and relationship with the city of Fullerton is just paramount. It's that association that we really view as a strength. And again, we can't wait till our students are back, again, going to all the wonderful businesses that make up the North Orange County Chamber of Commerce. A steadfast partner and advocate for the local business community, and a real partner for Cal State Fullerton. We're thrilled with our association with the Chamber of Commerce, and we look forward to many, many years down the road. So when you think about the impact of Cal State Fullerton, we have over 300,000 alumni, half of which are right here in Orange County, and 80% live within 50 miles of the campus. But if you think about those special leaders and those special alumni that have made such a difference in our community, you have to start with Teresa Harvey. She has made such a huge difference in the city of Fullerton and North Orange County. 16 years on the job, isn't that just crazy to think about? And we're proud to have her as an alumna of the university. She was the president of the Alumni Association twice and also served on our foundation board. Teresa, congratulations. While you're leaving this position, we got big plans for you on campus. We're gonna rope you into all sorts of stuff. Congratulations. Thank you everyone for being a part of this special event. I know we all wish we could be right here on campus in our student union for this important program, but you know what? It's a pandemic and it's getting close to the end. We see light on the other side. And so for the next 100 years, we'll be together right here in the union to be able to enjoy our time together. Thank you so much for your participation in this important event. Thank you so much for supporting the North Orange County Chamber of Commerce. And we look forward to seeing you right here on campus and all around town very, very soon. Have a wonderful day.
My name is Fred Young. I'm a councilman for the city of Fullerton, District 1. The pandemic has impacted our Parks and Recreations Department in a severe manner. 70% of our staff have been laid off or furloughed or cut. They've heroically adapted to this new normal, gone virtual, in some cases even given coloring books out to children to make sure that they're engaged.
My name is Phil Ross. I'm the president of the Senior Citizens Club of Fullerton. The Parks and Recreation Department has been very innovative, and they've come up with new programs which can be effected outside, such as the walking programs. These programs just were generated by the Parks and Recreation Department out of necessity, but it looks like they're so good, we'll probably continue those when we get back in full swing.
On behalf of the city of Fullerton, I'm happy to announce the Live Local program, which is a partnership between our Parks and Recs Department, St. Jude, and the North Orange County Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, welcome to V's Bookstore. Hello, I'm looking for something specific today. Do you happen to have the complete book of composting? We do, actually. It's actually right here. Awesome, I'll take it. All right, that will be $8.89, please. Also, I'm participating in the business scavenger hunt. Is there any way you could stamp this for me? Oh, of course. You have a nice day. All right, you as well.
Excuse me, what is this Fullerton Business Scavenger Hunt you speak of?
Well, it's a new program that rewards you for shopping in Fullerton. The more you shop, the more raffle entries you receive. There's a wide variety of prizes, including a grand prize valued at over $500.
Wow, that sounds great.
Participants will be encouraged to discover retail and dining at different locations around town to complete this bingo card.
How can I participate?
It's easy. You can pick up a bingo card at any of the participating businesses.
Let me get this straight. I can pick up a bingo card at any of these participating locations?
Yes.
And each time I shop at these locations, I can get a stamp on my bingo card?
That's correct.
And when I get enough stamps to complete a row, I can get entered into a raffle with prizes?
You are right.
Can I have a bingo card?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's get started.
It is a program to incentivize our residents to shop locally and visit local businesses, and I'm excited about making sure that those who live here spend here as well.
There are other programs, of course. We have a food program that, because of COVID-19, apparently, there's been a bigger demand for food, so we have more people coming in. and they've enlarged the program. And our club members participate as volunteers to help hand out food.
Discover Fullerton on Foot is an hour-long walk video that staff has put together. So during the pandemic, when everybody's forced inside, they can get outside and actually discover Fullerton. And these videos are educational, they're fun, and they're very creative. Art at Home's a wonderful program that our seniors can take advantage of. It started in the summer of last year and has artists like Picasso, Matisse, and these seniors can take these art kits home that the staff puts together and work on these and get their creative juices flowing. I'm excited to report that Fullerton's one of the few cities that's open to sports. Not all cities allow for sports right now, but Fullerton baseball, softball, soccer, football, all are on the field right now. I am happy to report that we are getting some normalcy back for our children.
The more time I spend here, the more I appreciate what the city does for us. They provide these nice offices and all the heat and light and telephones and opportunity to help our fellow man, our seniors. Thank you very much, City, for the opportunity to serve our seniors and our fellow citizens.
Our city's Parks and Recreations Department this year has been above and beyond with limited staff, limited resources. They've been able to engage our citizens in a new way, virtually. I encourage that this will continue. We will expand on these programs, but more than anything else, we look forward to serving our citizens in person, making sure that the programs that they had return, and expanding that department in a manner that makes sense to serve our citizens properly.
Early in this pandemic, it was clear that one remedy for this virus was to be outside, to get plenty of fresh air, sunshine, and to be active. Many of our citizens have taken full advantage of that. Now it's springtime, we have sports, parks, schools, and trails reopening. To at least elaborate on the city's response during the pandemic, there were many city facilities which were only partly available or not available at all. We have systematically worked to obtain information and comply with safe procedures to allow opening at the earliest possible date. We're at the point now where everything may be in that reopening stage, and so many of you have already been enjoying all the benefits that are available outdoors here in the city of Fullerton. We look forward to our museum being reopened later this year, and other facilities such as Muckenthaler Mansion and art exhibit, and well, they're too numerous to mention in the time available at this point. But I do want to say one of the positives coming out of this experience is that we've learned how to communicate virtually. And as we transition fully from virtual back to in-person, we have that as an additional tool with which to try to stay in touch and to keep informed. We will continue that as well. It's one other positive that has come out of this terrible pandemic.
Hi, I'm Monica Webb from Ting Internet. Ting is a different kind of internet provider. After 27 years in the internet space, we got into this business because the relationship between customer and provider was broken. Our goal is to treat customers the way we would like to be treated. So at Ting, a human answers the phone when you call. Our pricing is our pricing, no gimmicks, and it won't suddenly increase. And if something does go wrong, we won't stop until it's right.
My name is Nick Dunlap. I'm serving as Fullerton's Mayor Pro Tem. I'm a lifelong Fullerton resident, also a third-generation Fullerton resident. I previously served the city as a planning commissioner and now excited to serve as District 2's elected council member. The vast majority of our infrastructure was originally created in the 1950s to 1970s when our city was experiencing tremendous growth. As a result, much of this infrastructure is reaching the end of its useful life. Our infrastructure isn't just roads and streets, it consists of many things, including bridges, alleys, our airport, parks, trees, sewer lines, water mains. It also includes things like street lights, traffic signals, parking lots, parking structures, and more. Infrastructure is not just something you can install or fix and walk away from. It's something that requires an ongoing and consistent investment from our general fund dollars.
My name is Ahmad Zara. I'm the City Council member here in Fullerton representing District 5. We are all committed in one goal, which is to bring our infrastructure to a level that is deserving for our community.
For our residential streets, we try to align these improvements with the underlying water and sewer upgrades so that we aren't duplicating costs or efforts. For our arterial streets, these are also impacted by traffic conditions, road repairs, and the underlying infrastructure. So there's a little more to align, and as a result, that can have a bigger impact in determining which arterial streets are prioritized for improvement. Over the course of the next fiscal year, we have a number of road improvements that we're looking to program, including Rosecrans from Sunny Ridge to city limits, Valencia from Magnolia to Brookhurst, Orangethorpe from Lemon to Harbor, using some help from the county, and also Brookdale between Harbor and CDS. We have Euclid from Williamson to Fern. We have Orangethorpe between Brookhurst and Commonwealth, and then we're going to continue on Euclid between Fern and Baston Cherry later in the year. We're going to continue on the Victoria project at Acacia and Dorothy. We're going to go back and clean up some of the roads and streets in the Glenwood and Union area, where we've recently completed some water infrastructure repairs. And we're going to be doing the same in the La Entrada Arbol area as well.
We changed our policies so that restaurants and other businesses can operate on the sidewalks as well and take their business outside when they couldn't do it inside. I'm so proud of our community. I'm so proud of the response of our employees, our public safety employees, our police, our fire, our public works employees. Those are unsung heroes who go out every day, kept the water flowing, our sewers clean. I want our residents to know that we are united in making sure that our city is functioning, that our city is progressing, and that our city is looking to a bright future.
Infrastructure. Sorry. The most important item on the city's list of priorities for this year. I've said many times that every city budget is an expression of priorities, and there is no greater priority right now than, as we mentioned, and give Pease a chance, pavement, pipes, potholes, all the other assorted infrastructure needs that this city has at present. I've long advocated working on our budgets to translate them to the proper priorities. And this year, as we will be hammering out the budget for next year, fiscal year ending 2022, we are moving in the direction of a balanced budget with some unknowns, especially with funding, replacement funding for COVID-19 experiences. We're looking at a general fund, a balanced general fund budget of $98,163,272. Of course, that's subject to change. The important thing about all of our budgets are, and this year we've been able to control expenses relatively well, not necessarily something that we might have chosen, but reactions that we've made. As we talked about parks and recreation in the last video, we found ourselves having to let go of many temporary or part-time workers in the parks and recreation area due to all of those facilities being closed for some period of time. As we reopen, we'd like to see if there's an opportunity to bring back those who are necessary to help facilitate and provide those amenities to our public. As far as reprioritization, priorities is really what this budget is going to be about, and I expect the City Council to work hard to identify areas that can be modified to allow us to address those key priorities. For the last year and beyond, for the last several years actually, homelessness has been a prime focus of our budget activities, requiring us mandatory contributions and support to help house those people who find themselves without shelter. These additional expenses, they're new to cities, not just to Fullerton, but other cities as well. We need to work closely with and sometimes try to convince our other levels of government, county government, which is an arm of state government, and even the federal government, that to impose unfunded mandates, which have accompanied this issue for quite a while, without providing some level of support or dedicated revenue to be able to handle it well, that's almost a non-starter for the cities right now. There are many other areas of need in the city, particularly infrastructure, which have been postponed for decades. And I had an opportunity to speak with the governor recently about this. We had an interesting exchange, and he was wanting more city participation cost-wise. I pointed out that certainly the rising cost of pensions, which is another major impediment to balancing our budgets currently, and the requirements, the new unfunded mandates that cities handle, really prevent us from being able to handle this capably. We do need help, and we expect help from those other levels of government. I look forward to an opportunity, a question and answer period here at our close. So if anyone has, I know there are many business people, and if anyone has questions involving budget or what the city's current financial condition is, time really didn't support a detailed presentation this morning. But I look forward to any questions along those lines. Thank you. And
thank you, Mayor Whitaker. We really appreciate your time and dedication to the program today. It seems like quite a few of the questions also focus on a couple of the P's that were noted. But first, I want to make an announcement that may be of interest to our community. Certainly, one way out of the pandemic is through vaccines. And today and tomorrow, today until 3:30 and tomorrow from 8 to 3:30, St. Jude Medical Center will be providing a walk-up vaccine clinic. For those of you who are not familiar with where the hospital is, it's located at 101 East Valencia Mesa here in Fullerton. You can park in the parking lot right off Valencia Mesa between the hospital and the tennis center and proceed to the hospital's entrance. So please take an opportunity to seek your vaccines, and this is a great opportunity for our community. So Mayor Whitaker, we have a couple questions here I think that will be able to be answered by you and really provide some light. And they focus back on some of the topics you've already addressed. First of all, is there a timeline for fixing our roads, and where can they find that? And will the city be repaving Orangethorpe from Lemon down to Magnolia? They seem to think that's sorely needed.
There are so many areas that are sorely needed at present, and my answer is now. We've found and we've explained that during the pandemic with lower traffic levels, it's an optimal time to provide repairs and replacement, particularly of our streets. We do have very high traffic during normal times, and as many people have experienced over the years, the ability to have too many streets under reconstruction at the same time is simply not there to allow for people to commute properly. But I thank someone for whoever asked that question, because it's now, it's next month, it's the remainder of the year. And as you mentioned, those areas really in need of immediate attention. I urge our citizens to report those through city apps, which are readily available.
Thank you. It appears that people are really enjoying our outdoor dining. And one of the questions is whether they can anticipate the program for the Walk on Wilshire to continue once things begin to open up.
You know, thanks for that question as well. About a decade ago, we had a lot of discussion here at the dais. It was then Mayor Dick Jones, who was a big fan of al fresco dining. I was a big supporter as well back then. And it only, you know how government moves slowly sometimes. It only took a decade for us and a pandemic for us to really start addressing that in a practical way. We're hoping, I know there's support on the council, to extend and maybe expand al fresco dining in the city as long as is possible, and perhaps permanently as well.
That's terrific to hear. I know a lot of people really enjoy that opportunity. I know you focused on many of your priorities, but we have a question here asking, what is your greatest accomplishment you're looking forward to completing this year? And what can we as the community do to support what that is?
Well, what I've always wanted is the ability to demonstrate that city government can live within its means. And we received a message just last November, the election, that there was floated a sales tax increase, 1.25% sales tax increase. We heard from the public on November 3rd resoundingly that they didn't want to go there. It was almost a 60-40 result on that. So I think it's important to always listen to our citizenry. They get an opportunity to weigh in periodically. And it seems like right now what they want to see is with existing budgets, with reworking, retooling existing budgets, seeking outside funds, be they grants or support of whatever type, to be able to make progress on our infrastructure. It's not going to happen overnight. It actually deteriorated over decades. But each year, we'd like to be able to show an appreciable improvement in the conditions that we all face. Transportation is so important to all of us, and it's something that has been neglected too long. We will need to take a fine pin to the budget and find areas where we can resize or modify or change through both innovation, the talent of our staff, and technology, new technology, which is also cost-saving as well. It's rearranging the budget in such a way that we can more or less live within our means and not impose upon the voters for new revenue each time that there's a difficulty in our budget.
Thank you, Mayor. I know you highlighted a bit the need to work with our communities and the North Spa on really housing our community, and especially those who are most vulnerable. Can you tell us a little bit about the city's efforts to really develop workforce housing and to provide places for our local workers to reside?
Yes, Fullerton is a popular place, and we have more people at times than we can house in whatever fashion. The city government is responding to certainly state requirements and state mandates to provide adequate housing for, as you mentioned, workforce, and just for people who really like what's in our community and want to be a part of it. The important thing in that regard is, how do we do it in a city that's completely built out, as Fullerton is? Well, this city council did move to allow auxiliary units on parcels throughout the city, really easing and removing the barriers to that, which have sometimes existed in the past. The city has been required in part by federal judge David Carter to move swiftly to close the problem with homelessness, with those who lack shelter currently. The Navigation Center out near our airport is an example of the city's response, plus our funding assistance to the Kramer homeless shelter as well. So I would say in the time that we have limited, it's a very involved process. In fact, following this presentation this morning, I need to appear at a meeting with Judge Carter. He has scheduled and commanded that certain people from our city be there, and that's his practice. A former Marine, it's very evident that you can't say no to something like that. But yeah, there are numerous problems here that we've been handling and conquering slowly, one at a time, and also multiple items that we've been juggling as well. So I think that I'd like to thank the public for bearing with sometimes the difficulties that we faced. And let's hope that we can improve our service delivery in promptness and with high quality for years to come. That's really the goal that I have before I leave the council.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Whitaker. I think we have time for just a couple more questions. This one is of particular interest. The city was recently allocated nearly $35 million in federal relief funds. Can you outline the city's priorities or the method of determining the priorities for those funds?
Well, we know our priorities, and I thank someone for that question as well. But the benefactors, in this case the U.S. Government, its printing presses, which have provided this money nationwide, and some of it has trickled down to municipalities like Fullerton. You mentioned the amount. It's going to be about $17 million a year for the next 2 years. We have many, many priorities and many competing areas for those monies. We are awaiting further clarification on just how some of these funds can be used. There are many ways of adapting. A certain part of it is to reimburse for extraordinary expenses that have happened during the pandemic. But we're going to look to try to utilize these funds for those priorities as we rank them, particularly through this budget. In a few months, when we finalize this budget, perhaps we can find a way to fund with some of those funds as well.
Thank you. This one's a question that even I can answer, and that is, what app is used to report the roads and the problems that need reconstruction? And I believe the answer is the wonderful My Fullerton app, that you can report not only problems with pavement and potholes, but also graffiti, trash that's accumulating, and other issues. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct, and thank you for filling that out. This is a very important question because I know I receive, as mayor, you really receive a lot of input. You're really the #1 complaint department for the city. It's a role that I relish. I'm interested in risk control. I've done that in the for-profit sector before I became a council member and mayor. But I do urge people to utilize me as a complaint department. It's the feedback necessary to be able to improve service. And I thank you for your suggestions as well. I hear routinely, though, that app, Ms. Harvey, it usually provides a very prompt and thorough response on the part of the city. So I not only receive complaints, but I receive compliments and positive results from those calls as well. And that's one area that's been, I think, a resounding success. I'd be happy to hear from anyone if they have a different opinion.
Thank you, Mayor Whitaker. We seem to have lost our video feed, but thank you for those of you who are still hanging in there. Thank you, all of you, for participating today. We will be rebroadcasting this program on the Chamber's YouTube account, and we just thank all of you who are here live with us today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let the mayor wrap it up.
I just have a very brief closing today because I do have to get on my way to Santa Ana as well. But a last word on Give Peas a Chance. The P's are the priorities. They're the priorities that we hear from our residents and citizens and business owners and visitors to this city on what needs to be done in the city. You are all a primary source of information. You are that feedback loop that we require. We need to hear from you. We need to cooperatively work to solve these problems, and the City Council needs to listen to those priorities as you elaborate to us on what those are and how they need to be addressed many times. I often say that we are blessed in Fullerton that we have so many very smart people, so many innovators, entrepreneurs, problem solvers who live here, who work here, who teach here. We are blessed with major employers such as Cal State Fullerton, such as St. Jude Medical Center. We have all the resources here that we need. Often what's really required is open lines of communication. We're very dedicated to that. I believe that I could get, in most cases, a 5-0 vote on maintaining and projecting transparency for the city and to be receptive to your thinking, your thoughts, your suggestions, your complaints, whatever it is. So that's, in my opinion, what city government should be all about. I have just one last point to make here. When with this topic, Give Peas a Chance, I'd just like to take a second and look positively into what's going to happen in the next year and beyond in Fullerton. So perhaps to posit a prediction that post-pandemic, the possibilities for Fullerton appear endless. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Look forward to working with you throughout the rest of the year and beyond.
Thank you, Mayor Whitaker. Go out and have a great day in our fine city of Fullerton. Thank you.